All right, 5 takeaways for Gradle. Of course, Gradle's not the same thing it used to be. It's now commonplace. But at one time, back in 2008, it was a brand new beast. But lots of the things that were cool then are still cool now. So it's just people like, oh, that's cool. It's like, yeah, okay, it's been around. So I've been around Gradle that whole time since 0.5. So I had the opportunity, actually, Hans taught me Gradle. So I was in a training class. If anybody knows, Hans Doctor was one of the original people that developed Gradle along with Adam Murdoch. So number 1, you don't have to install it. All right, somebody has to install it. But by somebody installing it, there's this awesome thing called the Gradle wrapper. In fact, it's so awesome that the Maven community is going to pick it up soon and put it into their actual core. But it's been around for several years. And by awesome, I mean you basically tell it what version you want inside your build file, and everybody who checks out your project will build with a proper version. So why does this matter? All right, well, anybody who's had to update somebody's versions of their tools on their workstations, and there's always the guy or the gal who just breaks everything and can't get anything right. This is to help mitigate that. But it also ensures that whenever you check out a piece of code, whenever it was last built or worked on, it should still build, regardless of what version of the tool you have installed, because it installs it for you. All right, it's not XML. It's a religious thing, but hey, your eyes don't have to bleed. Maybe you like XML. I started working with XML in 1998. Yeah. All right. That's a little snippet of a similar kind of thing from Maven. This is Gradle on the other side over here. One of these was designed for a machine. The other one was designed for the human. I'll let you decide which one you are. Some people are machines. They like XML. It was awesome, but it's a little wordy for me. So, plays well with others. All right, still wants to take over the world. But as a tool, these are some of the things that, as it comes out of the box, Ant, it embeds a version of Ant into it. It says, Ant's cool. It used to embed a version of Ivy, but it still works with Ivy repositories. Works with Maven repositories. Eclipse and IntelliJ. Eclipse, actually, they have an official build ship plugin by the Gradle folks. Pick a language. Yeah, C++ is up there. C and C++. Android. If you're doing Android and you're not using Gradle, I don't know when you started developing Android, but not recently. Because, I mean, that is the de facto build system. Even for like C++, there are things, Unity game engine. Everybody ever use that? Or at least played a game that might have used it? They're cutting over their homegrown system to using Gradle. They actually have their own custom language development environment. They have a lot of C and C++, but it's a build tool to play with other tools. It doesn't waste your time. Laziness can be a virtue. And when I say lazy, I don't mean don't do anything, but I mean don't do anything if I don't have to do anything. So I'm sitting at a command line. I could be in an IDE or whatever, and I'm going to go run a build. And it starts compiling. And then it gets to the check style. Find bugs. Let's go get a cup of coffee. Some tests are running. Somebody didn't do a great job there. 2 hours later. OK, just 2 minutes later. But it feels like 2 hours later, something's happened. So I'm in Ant, or I'm in Maven, or I'm in something else, and I say, ooh, am I going to go and run that command again? I'm going to think about it. I might change something. Half the time when I'm in Gradle, I'm not afraid. I'm just going to run it, because it's going to know what I changed. And this is based on incremental builds. Incremental compiles. It uses inputs and outputs, and some other build systems use things like that as well. But unfortunately, there are time-based ones that have all kinds of interesting things if you ever have to play on an NFS system and watch things happen past in the future. Or it actually uses a signature of the files to determine whether something has to be done. This isn't in just each individual plugin. So Maven has some cool stuff like this, but it's hit or miss. Some plugins do it, and some don't. This is baked into the tool itself for all tasks to make use of. So it's inherent, and when it works, it's cool. Does it work every single time? No, people can write bad stuff. But if you're using the tool right, it works. Gradle cares. No, it doesn't. It's a tool. But the community is pretty awesome. And by that, I mean Gradle has not been around anywhere near as long as the other tools. Ant's been around about 2000, Maven 1, 2001, Maven 2 is really 2002. In that time, here is an approximation of the unique contributors to the code base. Is that a number that says, oh, well, these guys are awesome, these guys are not? No, but it's indicative of allowing other people to help make the tool better. So in a much shorter period of time, there are many more people providing inputs and contributions. And this doesn't actually capture everything. This is only since like Gradle 110 probably. So I mean, I've got stuff in there from a long time ago that's not in there because they didn't do it the same way. Releases. Well, if you like something solid, stable, and never changing, Ant's pretty good. It's pretty much the same tool. Sometimes they throw in a new function. It is really cool as a set of utilities. But for an orchestration tool, not so much. Maven, not a bad tool for JVM things. But there was a time the releases can be a little bit slow, and even the point releases. So these are what we call point releases, minimal releases, short-term releases right here. So about 7 to whatever. Long-term, like major releases, Maven's about every 5 years you get a new Maven. Gradle's about every 2 years. So is that good or bad? Depends on whether good stuff's coming in. But if you're looking to people to see what's going on, there was a time, maybe 4 years ago, where Maven had a ton more plugins. Maven's plugin base is around the 200 some odd. Just recently I was surprised, Gradle's up over 700. That doesn't mean they're all good. There are lots of bad plugins. But it does mean that people are actively using it. So it's no longer the new kid on the block. It really is sort of like, if you're not using it, or if you haven't looked at it at least, you may want to consider it. So they have a good set of forums that you can go to. And like I said, GitHub, Go, you can actually look at the source code, and they accept pull requests. You do have to sign an agreement and everything, but if they accept it, they like it. There's some books out there. I've reviewed some of those. Does that mean I'm done? And then, for whatever reason, they actually accepted me to give a presentation at the Gradle Summit this summer. And I will be presenting there. And if you go to Gradle.org, if you really are interested, you can enter your email address and possibly get a free ticket to go. Now, they don't pay for your flight or your hotel or any of the other stuff, but you can go to the conference if you're one of the 4 winners. I get to go, but that's because I'm presenting. I was going before, but they actually picked me, so who knows. All right, that's all I have on just a quick 5 takeaway on Gradle. If anybody has any questions, I certainly am willing to answer now, later. I love Gradle. Yes?
What are you speaking on?
So I'm actually speaking on a presentation called, no. Different audience. There will be people there that know much more than I do. There was a time, probably about 5 years ago, I could have said I was, top 50 people in the world with Gradle. Now I'm in the top, 1,500. If even that, probably 2,000 of knowing knowledge. These guys are going to be the core contributors, or there's going to be Netflix, LinkedIn folks. These are the guys who are actually abusing the system. I get to abuse it once in a while. My speech presentation is going to be on surviving corporate environments with Gradle. There are unique situations, not just in our environment, but similar environments where Maven Central, what's that? The internet? Holy, no way. You want these jars? Come back in about 6 months. And you're going to get version 1.6.3, not the other 4 that you want. So there are some pretty rough environments, and in fact, some of these environments, the Gradle wrapper, even trying to use that, you've got to actually, some people make you recompile everything from source. They actually mitigated that to some degree for one of the people that worked as clients for the Gradleware folks, or Gradle Inc. now. Checksum on it, so you can actually generate your own custom Gradle wrapper and put a checksum. So in your code, where I'd put that little wrapper line, you can put one more line that basically says this is the only valid version, checksum for that version. So little things like that. They're definitely building it for the enterprise and building it for consumers and taking inputs from those poor folks like us that have unique situations. Or not so unique. You'd be surprised. Corporate America, sometimes rougher than some of the environments we're revealing to ourselves now. So if anybody has any questions or just wants me to get out of the way so we can finish this up faster, I'm fine.
All right, good stuff, Spencer.
All right.